Hey everyone, today we're going to tackle a nice, fun, easy project. Don't go away. Hey gang, it's Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And yes, indeed, we are going to take things down a notch. We're going to, we've been doing so many customs and a lot of different kinds of things. And excuse me, today's project is going to be a very simple but fun project. It's not going to be a total straight restoration because this thing was really gnawing at me and saying, hey, you need to do this. And so I gave in and decided that's what I was going to do, but it's going to be a fun, simple, easy restoration. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. It's going to be a good time. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be working on the number 42 Leslie Matchbox Evening News Van. A simple casting, just a body and a base and some wheels, a few decals, and we're good to go. It may be a simple casting, but I saw something fun in it, in that, to me, it's screaming that it needs a two-tone paint job. And so we're going to be doing that today. Other than that, we're pretty much going just simple restoration, but I just can't contain myself. I can't avoid doing this two-tone paint job. I think it's going to look amazing. I guess you guys will be the arbiters of that at the end of the video, and I'm sure you'll let me know. Anyhow, so time to get cracking with the evening news van, and we'll begin by going ahead and getting this thing apart. Now, the matchboxes don't really need or benefit too much from shielded drilling because their posts have a natural divot right smack dab in the middle of them. So you can go ahead and just put your drill in that little dimple and you're good to go. And so that's what I'm going to be doing here. Now, here's where I really disagree with some of the other builders out there. I see some of the guys who will drill down into the posts while the car is still together, and they'll drill out where they're going to tap to put their screw while the car is still together. And I think that is an absolute huge mistake and a recipe for disaster. And I'll tell you why. I have seen all sorts of cars where the posts are shaped like an S or zigzagged or whatever. You don't know what's underneath there until you get the car apart. And it's going to be very easy to kill the post underneath by drilling into it blindly. So I don't agree with that. I think the best move is to drill off the little mushroomed end, get the car apart, then drill down into the post when you're doing it with your eyes wide open. So that's how I'm going to proceed. And then we just go ahead and pop it apart with a little pry bar. Yeah, like I said, there's not a lot to this vehicle. A base, a body, and some wheels. My axles are a disaster. They're not just rusty, they're pitted, and so they're not going to be reused. So I'm going to go ahead and try and just clip the end off with my little pliers here. That's going to be an epic fail, and I'm going to end up having to turn to the big dog, the rotary tool, and cut the ends off. But suffice it to say, I don't care about saving these axles, just the wheels, and I'll have to make some axles later on. With the car apart, as normal, everybody gets a bath in the warm liquid goo. Sad to say, this paint stripper from Clean Strip is banned in America now, and you can't buy it anymore because apparently it's been killing people. I might have to try Citrus Strip, but just so you know, you're not going to be able to find the good strippers, at least for a short while. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the paint booth and spend a little time over there. We're going to start by putting down some Tamiya Fine Primer, and this is a must here because I'm not going to clear coat this car And I want the extra grip that the primer will give us. So we're going to put a coat of that down and let it dry. While it's drying, we can mix up the first color. And the first color is going to be pretty much the color the car should have been in toto. What we're going to have is white tinted with yellow to give us a nice cream color. And so we get that all mixed up by mixing some Tamiya Gloss White and Tamiya Gloss Yellow. And we'll thin that down with Tamiya X20 thinner and a little bit of a self-leveling thinner. And once that's mixed up, we can go ahead and start to lay that down on our truck. So we've got our mask on our face. The airbrush booth is running. And we're just going to go ahead and lay this paint down as I always do, starting with just a tack coat and then some medium coats and then some nice wet coats to get a nice smooth surface here. The thing that really made me think about the two-tone was the body style. But I have to say that the creamy yellow also made me think of two-tone. It made me think of how nice it would look with a nice bright yellow as the second tone. But so we've got the creamy paint down on here, and we're going to let that dry really well. We'll put it on our little lamp and make sure it's thoroughly dry before we start doing this, which is the masking. Now, one of the things I see often is people mask with just any old tape they have laying around. That's a mistake. Use tape that's made for masking. Here I am using Tamiya masking tape, and it is made specifically for this. I knew I was going to be butting up to a square edge, so I trimmed the tape off nice and square, and then I just go ahead and proceed to carefully wrap it. I'll burnish all the edges down with a toothpick to make sure that they're nice and stuck down, and that'll help give me a nice clear edge between the base color and the secondary color. And again, you can see I've trimmed off the tape to make sure it's nice and square. Get an end on it and just kind of pull it around tight, lay it down and rub it in. Really take your time with this and get it right. This is really where the rubber meets the road. If this isn't right, your paint job's not going to come out right. So now we can run back over to the booth, and in some very, very, very gentle layers, we'll go ahead and put on our secondary color, which is just Tamiya yellow softened with just a few drops of Tamiya white and mixed with the X20 and the leveling thinner. Now, I've said it before, after masking and spraying, it is my belief that it is best to get the tape off as soon as possible. And what I use for a gauge is the cleaning of the airbrush. So as soon as I'm done painting, I set the car aside and I clean my airbrush. Once the airbrush is clean, I will then turn my attention to removing the tape. If you wait too long, you can start to break the edge of the paint and get a rough edge. Right now it's still kind of a little bit gummy, and so it kind of pulls it apart in such a way that you get a really nice clean line. Also notice as I'm pulling the tape off, I'm kind of pulling back against it to help cut that paint as I pull the tape off. But I found that doing it this early, yeah, it brings with it some of its own issues, but in the end, I think that this is the best way to do it and get a really nice edge on your tape here. So I tape as soon as I'm done finishing cleaning up the airbrush. So lately I've been having this giant problem about forgetting to treat the post. That is make sure the end of it is correct and that it's tapped and ready to go before I paint. And you can, of course, do this after you paint, but you exponentially increase the chances of screwing up your paint job doing it this way. So this is absolutely not the way I would recommend doing it. You want to do it before you put the paint down. So do as I say, not as I do. One of my viewers made a suggestion of having some sort of a little reminder on my work area, and that anytime I move it, it falls apart. Then I have to put it back together again. And I think that's a fabulous idea. I wish I remembered his name. I'd love to give him a little shout out and thank him for the suggestion, because I am going to do something like that. But yeah, hey, this is what happens when you're stupid. All right, with it all tapped out, I'm able to put that screw in there and make sure that it's all set, and it's going to seal up really nice when we're done, and it is going to be great. So happy, happy, joy, joy. Now, I really wish I remembered off the top of my head where I got these decals from. I don't, but I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to put the company's name down here, because these are fantastic decals. They're very, very opaque, so they sit against the darker colors and aren't affected by it. And look at, see in the glitter, the light where the edges, the coating over the decal is just over the artwork. So I don't have to worry about how I trim these. I can just cut them out, and they're going to be perfect. They're opaque. I love the coating on them. They're perfectly sized. I mean, they fit like a glove. So I'm just super happy with them, and I definitely am going to look up where I got these ones so I can give them a shout out. So talk about being stupid earlier when I said I was stupid. To reinforce that point, let me tell you the stupid thing I did. This is the second time I am doing every bit of this voiceover. I went through the entire video doing my voiceovers, and only to realize that although I had the mic set up and everything like that, I'd forgot to turn it on. And so I was recording absolutely dead silence. And I found it right at the end and had to go back and do this all again, because stupid is as stupid does. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to go down and have a box of chocolates. So I do a lot of decaling, whether it be in models or diecast or wherever. And I've talked about a lot of the parts of decaling with you guys before. But if you would like a standalone decaling video, please comment down below. If I get enough support for that idea, I will put together a couple project cars that are going to involve decals, and I'll do a standalone video talking about how to apply them, some of the problems you can run into, the equipment you need, and all of that, so that you can be a successful decaler. So again, if you're interested in something like that, go ahead and be sure to put it in the comment down below. Wheels and axles are indeed the next thing. And I'm going to be making new axles out of some pop rivets. And all you have to do is slide the little collar part off of it. What I do is I lightly grab the collar part with a pair of needle nose pliers, and then I kind of bang the nail part on the work surface, and it'll drive the two pieces apart. Slide that collar on and discard it, or slide the collar off and discard it. And then you've got an axle. I don't know if this applies to every pop rivet, but the ones I have a little bit of a problem in that there is like little grippy, pinchy things in the end of the pop rivet designed to hold that little collar in place. And so those have to go. I ended up chucking this thing up into my drill, and then I could run the drill and hold the file against it and remove those little pinchy things, and it worked out perfect. So, you know, you'll have to kind of figure it out based on what rivets you have. I don't know if they all have them or not, but mine did. If yours do, you're just going to have to get rid of them. The other concern is in this particular model, the rear wheels have a skirt, and the end of the rivet is a little bit big, and I was worried I would have a clearance issue. As it turns out, I'm not going to have a clearance issue, so I don't have to deal with it, but just things to think about. So I'm feeling pretty good about the axles, so I can turn my attention to these wheels. And believe it or not, we're hitting a milestone. I believe, and I'm going to have to look back to verify it, but I believe this is the first Matchbox I've done with gray wheels. So that's a little milestone crossed. Very, very cool. But these little gray wheels are showing a little bit of rust stains from the axles. So I've got them laid out on a little piece of shop towel, and I'm spritzing them with super clean and then hitting them up with the toothbrush. This is going to get rid of any dirt and grime and the rust spots, and then I kind of buff it out here on the towel a little bit, and they're going to look fantastic. So pretty simple little operation, but you know, devil's in the details. So the base, after priming, was just hit up with some black from a rattle can. And once that was nice and dry, I was able to take it and the axles and the wheels all downstairs, out into the garage and my drill press. And using Marty's method, I was able to go ahead and put the wheels back onto the base, and hopefully they'll never have to come off again. So we've got those on there, and here's the body looking fabulous. Now, you guys know I'm like a clear coat crazy. I'm not going to be clear coating this one today because I really like the natural finish of the Tamiya gloss paints on the Matchboxes. I feel it really gives it an authentic feel. So unless I'm doing a really special car or a custom or something like that, you're not going to see a lot of very glossy Matchboxes coming out of Fat Guy Productions. Okay, I said it was a simple car, and to put the base back on, you just put the little tab in the back, drop it down, and screw it together. But I'm going to find out that the hole in the base is too big for my screw head, so it's really not holding anything together at all. So I'm going to have to take that screw back out of there and apply one of my little teeny tiny washers that I got from Brightvision along with the screws, and that ought to fix the problem. All right, so we got the screw back in with the little washer. It's all together, and it looks like all we really need to do now is fiddle around with some of the detail work. On this casting, all of the detail work is going to be done with my Molotow chrome pen and a paintbrush and a little tray so I can pump some of the ink out. This casting doesn't have molded in tail lights and things like that, so I don't need a bunch of different colors and stuff. More realistic, not more realistic certainly, but more authentic would be just a silver paint for the bright work on the front. But I want to go with a nice chromey look, so we're going to use the Molotow chrome pen. I've pumped some of the ink out into one of my little trays so that I can use the paintbrush where I need to. And now we can go ahead and get started. We're going to do all the bright work on the front and the little handle in the back. The headlights are simple little balls, and they stick out pretty far, so it makes it really, really super easy to make them silver with the nib of the Molotow chrome pen. You know, some not so easy, but in this particular casting, super, super easy. Also, the front grille and the bumper and all of that are raised enough that I can put it on with the pen, which is the preferable way to do this if you can. One of the tricks to a Molotow chrome pen is to put it on wet and fast. If you dwaddle or take too long, what's going to happen is the ink is going to start to get gummy a little bit. And as you work with the pen nib over it, it's going to start to get sticky and it's going to start to lose its chrome appearance. So quick, fast, and wet is the trick to getting Molotow to go on there. And that is best done by using the pen itself. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do the little paintbrush trick, but you got to remember the rules of the road, so to speak. So I'm just kind of putting this on fast and dirty, and then I can do any little touch-ups I need to with the paintbrush and the ink that I pumped out. Now, the door handle on the back is way too small and delicate to try and color in with this pen, so I won't be doing that. I'll use the brush and the ink that I pumped out. But quick and fast, that's the way. All right, this was a fun little project, but I think we are just about done with it. So we can just pick up our mess and take a look and see what we have here. All right, there you have it, the Lesney Matchbox Evening News Van. It was a lot of fun, and I think the two-tone paint came out exactly the way I was seeing it in my mind's eye. I hope you liked it too. If you did, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, click the little bell, and you'll be notified anytime I release a new video. If you have any questions or comments, ask them down below. I really do read all of your comments. I love to talk with you guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I've got a lot of stuff to do, lots of things on the burner. Got to get going. So I'm going to flee. I hope all the news you get today is good news. I hope you have a fantastic day and, enjoy these last few days of 2019 and this decade. So I'm going to go ahead and go. This is Paul from Fat Guy Productions. Until next time, just be good.